Hi YouTube friends, it's Lee here. Well, up to part 2 of the Slipknot butterfly book for Matteo's 77 butterflies challenge. So this is an open challenge. There's a link to Matteo's channel and a video that he put out explaining how the challenge is working. So you can work along with him. You can join the challenge at any time. I'm working sort of at my own pace, going a little bit rogue, and I'm going to start adding my focal points onto my pages. So these are my pages, and so far the backgrounds are done. So there's a link to my background video in my video description box, so you can check that out. So I'm just going to start adding in my my focal points, which I have over on the side here. So I'm just going to go through my pile of things and add in something that I think is appropriate to work with the colour of the background. Oh, editing Lee here. So my husband decided he wanted to mow the lawn. So I thought I'd just voice over this. So this is the last card that I'm putting a focal point onto. And this lady, as cute as she is, she has the top of her head sliced off. So I'm just going to put this earring on top of her head. So it looks a little bit like a hat, I guess. And that'll be all my focal points done. So that one will just have to go aside to dry. And the next thing that I'm going to do is to glue 2 of these together. So I'll end up with 10 pages. So I've got my pile of 20, and I'll pair them up and glue them together with Mod Podge. Once I've glued them, I'll just leave some clips on them for a little while just to seal the edges down, and then I'm going to put them underneath a book. And then I've got a rice bag that I use for weighing down things when I'm working on this sort of project. It weighs 3 kilos, so I'll pop that on top of it. There it is. And leave them for a few hours, and then I'll come back and I will be inking around the edges. So when I come back, I can't win. There's a couple of birds having a fight outside the front door. I've got the door open because it's really hot today. Yeah, so when the next thing I'll be doing is inking around the edges, and then I'll just go through the pages and look at them and decide if I want to add any bling or anything like that to them. Okay, all my pages are glued together and nice and dry, and now I want to paint the edge of the pages. I was going to ink them, but I like this better. What I'm doing is I'm holding them like they're a pack of cards and really compressing them together. And I'm using a dry brush and black gesso and just lightly brushing over the very ends of the pages. So what happens is some of the bristles will go down a little way in between, but not very far, maybe 1/2 millimeter or something, and just give a black edge. You can sort of see it on the card that's at the top there. You can see the black edge on it. And once the black is dry, I've got this gold paint, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm going over it and giving it a coat of gold paint. The gold paint is quite transparent, so the black paint is going to show through it. and I really like the way that looks. It reminds me of an old encyclopedia or Bible or something like that. So you can see a little bit of paint on the edge, the very edge, and I think I like this better than inking. So I've got the words that came with Matteo's kit, and I've printed them out probably about half size, I guess. And because I've just done it on a plain copy paper, I'm just painting over the words with Mod Podge. And once that dries, it'll be like a waterproof coating on top of that, so it won't matter if other liquid gets on those words. I don't imagine that happening, but the protection is there. Surprisingly, this doesn't make the ink blur or run or anything like water does. So I'll do that, and once it's dry I'll cut them up and I'll install them onto the cards. I've decided that I want to do a bit of stamping on these cards, so I've got a permanent, I can't think what type of ink it is, but it's a permanent ink, it's not a water reactive one, so I'm just using the same stamp on the whole lot of them, and so it's a text stamp. And once one side is dry, I'll turn them over and do the other side. Well, my words are all dry and cut apart, and I've allotted a word to each card, and I've inked around the edge of them with vintage photo, and I'm using art glitter glue to glue them down with because it dries really quick and I want to get on with the next bit of this. So I'll quickly show you what's on each one. Let me know if you think these pages are as beautiful as I think they are. I just love them. Gorgeous. So happy with the way they turned out. So I'm going to use my Crocodile Big Bite to punch my holes, and I'm going to use the 1/8 hole on this. And what I want to make sure to do is to put my holes on a side. I don't want to put like holes there in places like that, so, or on the bird. So I will go choose the side that has the least amount of detail on it. So on these birds I would put my holes on this side. This one, I don't want to lose the train, so I'm going to go this way and put it there and there. Let's see how far apart. I was going to make a template, but I think this is going to work anyway. So if I put my holes just sort of inside the curve, and if I come in 2 centimeters from each end, or which is a bit over 1/2 inch, dot there. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put the holes, and then I'll use that to as my template. Yeah, so that's a good size, that. Really, really nice. So all holes are there, and that's ready to be bound. And hopefully they all line up. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm going to get a cover organised, which is not going to take me too long because I have some extra pieces of cardboard, so I'll work on that. And alright, so I need 4 pieces because I need my covers to be sturdy like these pages are. This is what I love. Absolutely love that sound. So I want to cover them. I want to use this gel print because I really like the colours. So I'm going to glue these down. So they're dry. I've cut them apart and just rounding the corner on the last one, so I can now glue them together. You know, I was going to go really fancy on these, but I love them just the way they are. I think they're gorgeous. I was going to do something textural, but I'm thinking I'll just leave them as they are. I might put a title, and I was thinking maybe one of the butterflies, perhaps. Anyway, I'm going to glue them together with Mod Podge and put the black gesso on the edge, and I'm just with my finger applying the gold paint. So it's a much thicker coat application than was on the pages, and you can see the difference how it comes over the edge. So I think because these are the covers that it's okay to do this. Make them a little bit more decorative. Oops, a bit of stray there. And it's a transparent sort of paint. It's not a very good quality. And that it doesn't have a lot of pigment in it, so it might dry a bit less obvious too. So we'll let them dry properly, then I'll put the holes in it, and then I'll be ready to bind the book. Okay, it's time to bind. So there's 2 things you need to remember. The main rules is you're starting from the back cover, and you always go, when you put your threads through, from the top to the bottom. Okay, so that's the way my book goes. This is my front. This is my back. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I've already bound this, and I had to undo it because I put it in, all the pages in upside down, because of the way I laid this down while the way I put the book down on the desk. I managed to turn it. I went like this somehow, and then I turned the pages around this way so that I was coming straight down, but what that did was it meant that all my pages were upside down, so I had to pull it undone, and this is the second time I'm binding it. But it was not such a bad thing because the thread that I used was this slippery as ice, silky sort of stuff, and it just about drove me crazy. I'm now using cotton thread. It's about 1 metre long, the piece. I've folded it in half, so you've got a loop. I'm going to push that loop down through the top of the card. Okay, you've got a loop here now, and all you do is you bring your thread through that loop, and that's the first one done. When you do the next one, the next page, it's a bit different because you won't have that loop anymore. Yeah, this is what you need to avoid, seeing how that's all twisted around together, so that needs to go and get straightened out. So put the loop end, the fold, down through the hole, so top to bottom. Oops. Oh dear. And my hole's too small. Maybe that's why this has been a pain. And I don't need them any bigger. It's just my hands. Alright, there we go. Yay, finally got the first page. So now we've got the two ends. They're going to go down through the hole. If you have to, put a bit of tape on the end so they don't separate like that. It's important to keep these threads untangled, because if they're tangled you're going to get messy work. Okay, so now we want the next page. So we're going to go down through the top. And because you don't have a loop, you're going to be going in between these threads instead. So see how that's sort of twisted over? Untwist it before you pull that through. And when you pull it, it's going to be nice and tidy. You do the same with the other side. Oh, just started raining. So down through the top. Pull. Make sure there are no twists in here. So that is twisted. See how it's twisted? You need to get that twist out. There we go. So that's pulled it out. And you're going to be going in between these two threads here. So up, through, and pull. So you have a nice tidy loop on the top. You can tell if they're twisted, they're not going to look like that. They're going to be all lumpy and untidy looking. Okay, so we've got 2 down. I think we've got about 19 to go. So the next one is this one, and I'm going to go this way. So there, down through the hole. Make sure it's not twisted. It's easy if you put your fingers there like that and then come up through that separated thread. There we go, another nice tidy little slip knot there. Do the same with this one. Give it a bit of a straighten out before you start. And down through the hole. Like so. Make sure this is not twisted here. Okay, so hold them separated. See what I mean? Just keep your hand in there and keep them apart, and then come up through that gap and then pull it tight, and it's nice and tidy on the top. If it's not tidy on the top, it's twisted, and you should undo it and do it again. And one thing about this is it's really easy to undo if you have made a mistake somewhere along the line. Okay, so up this way we're going. We got them all up the right way. Yep. So next page, we go down 2 ends, down through the hole. Keep it nice and tidy there, and does have a tendency to wiggle around a little bit, but it's just a matter of getting used to it. So we're pretty tidy there. Going to come up through the gap, the split in the threads, and pull it. And is it tidy? Yes, it is, so it's not twisted. Yay! Next one. 2 ends, down through the hole, pull it through. Make sure this is not twisted. It was a little bit. Tidying it up. There we go. two threads separated there. There we go. There we go. So it's nice and tidy. So it's these bottom ones that are got to be not twisted. So then you can come up through the top and pull that tight. Because the bottom is the bottom and the top can be fixed. So sometimes you need to do a little bit of jiggling. That shouldn't be too much because the holes are all in the same place, but there's always, you know, maybe a millimetre or so difference. This next page. Untangling my threads. If you untangle every time before you go down through the holes, you're less likely to get a tangle a bit later in the process. So just pulling that through. There's a little bit of a twist there, so I'm making sure that that's clean on the bottom, nice and separate. See? Can you see that? These two here. Doesn't matter so much what's going on at the top. Pull that through, and then we have our nice neat loop there. Here we go again, just making sure this is separated, not twisted. Down through the holes. Pull it through. Get into these bottom ones. Make sure they're nice and separated, and then come up through that gap. Pull it tight. So you can see we're getting that nice plaited look on the outside. Alright, next page. Can't put it that way because it'll be upside down. It's got to go this way. So check every page. Don't do what I did. Okay, checking that that bottom is separated. There we go. By doing that, it untangles the top of it anyway, so pull through and tension it. Separate the threads, put the ends together, down through the top, pull it through a little bit, get down the bottom here, get them separated, pull it through a bit, make sure it's all nice and even. See down the bottom here, there's no crossover on those threads, so that just will pull that at the top. It will automatically just pull that out, any twists that are in there. And there we go, another one. Success, we're getting somewhere. Now if you have any questions about this, don't ask me, ask Mateo. No, leave a comment. I'll try and answer as best I can, but he does have a really good video. I've actually done one too, but he explains it better. He's done it more than me. I've only ever done this one other time, and that was when I made that heart-shaped book. So this one's nice and tidy. So don't forget, the digital of Mateo's is available to purchase cheap as chips. You just need to send him an email, and his email address is in my video description box. It's also on his channel, on his videos. So he doesn't have an Etsy store anymore. He's shut that down. And you just need to send him an email, and then he'll send you details, and you can just PayPal him the money. And there's a lot of pages, lots of butterflies. There's 77 sets. Don't forget to subscribe to his channel. He's got less than 1,000 subscribers, so it'd be nice if we could get him up over 1,000. Because he does some wonderful bookmaking stuff. He's really talented. And I don't know how I first got onto him, but I must have been looking up Coptic binding or something, I don't know, but yeah, I've been a big fan of his work ever since. Okay, so I've just untangled that, so I'm going to bring up, get my fingers in there, bring that thread up and through, and then we have one more nice neat loop. Just checking, we're giving no twists to begin with. Did I put that in the right way? Yes. After what I did last time, I'm double checking everything. It wasn't until I was editing my video that I realized I'd done it wrong. Okay, so we've got that bottom, these ones down here. This is the important bit, these ones. Here, these ones. It's got to be straight and separated. Doesn't matter if there's a twist there, because that'll just come out. But that's what makes this nice neat loop. Yeah, I didn't realize until I was editing, I couldn't work out why my binding finished at the back instead of the front. And then when I was doing my edit, the penny dropped what I'd done. So, I mean, I could have not told you about that. I could have pretended that it didn't happen. But what's the point in that? I just want you to be aware. Like, if you didn't know that could happen, and you go and make your book and it turns out upside down, you're going to be saying, well, I've given you a bum stare, haven't I? Especially if you did it the same way that I did it. Okay, bottom ones are separated. Let's go back up here, through the top. And, ooh. Okay, checking for tangles before we start. None there. Put them together. This stuff's way easier to use in that slippery C-wrap. I'll say C-wrap. Okay, so that, see that? Can you see how it's twisted over there? So if I don't get that undone, that's going to stay there, that twist. So I just need to take it back this way, and it's nice and separated. And then come up through, and then we have the nice loop. Got that lovely chain plaited look on the outside. Okay, look at this one. Well, there's only two more after this to do, but I'll keep talking. I'll keep going through it. So 2 threads together that have been untangled already. Pull it through. Make sure there's nothing there, no twist in that bottom. Come back up through between the threads and tighten it. Check there's no twist. See, it does, it gets twisted. I don't know how, it just, it's like, they're like computer cords. You know when you go to dust around your computer and you haven't moved your cords, you haven't done anything, but all your computer cords are twisted over each other and around each other. And how on earth does that happen? It does. Alright, there we go. They're nice and open and no twist there. Come up and through, and there we go. Making sure that everything's lining up nicely. Checking for twists before I start. Oh, I saw that there and I thought I'd put it on the wrong way. This is the second last page. Down through the top, go to the bottom, threads, separate them out. See, it's twisted here at the top, but by the time it comes back up, as long as that bottom bit's not twisted, it's fine. Okay. Down through the top, going to the bottom. I guess if you just hold that, it's going to stop it, isn't it? Stop it from twisting. Oh, come on. Come on. What's going on? What's going on? Spoke too soon. Okay. Checking the bottom. That's all nice. Come up through the top, through between the threads. Pull it nice and tight. Come back here because that come loose. And the cover. Now, I wanted that to be the outside of my cover. I like that side better. And then we'll do eye. Got a bit of reflection on that. Sorry, I've got light on because it's dark in here. I've got a light here. This one, see? Over my work because my light and the ceiling is above my rig for my camera. And it puts a shadow on there if I don't. So I can either have my cover that, like that, or I can be like that. And that'll be on the inside. Oh, I never thought this would be such a hard decision to make. I kind of like this better. Alright, I'm going to go with that. I'd already sorted that out, but with the stress of binding it wrong, I've forgotten what I'd chosen. Okay, we're down through the top. We're going to come up between those threads, loop it, make it tight. Check this one, make sure it's not twisted. Down through the top. And coming out. Okay. There's my threads. They're a little bit twisted, so I'm just going to separate them like so. It's nice and open here. There's no twist in it. And there we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is just give it a couple of bangs. I've got a feeling that I've got this cover around the wrong way, but that's okay. Because it slightly doesn't line up properly, but that's fine. So now I need to tie off the binding. So separate the threads. So this left one, it's going to go between the spine, between the cover and the pages, and around out that way. And the right one is going to go back the opposite way and come out on the left. So you can tighten all this up once you get it through, because it will loosen a little bit while you're doing that. So tension it back up again. So basically we're just going to tie it back to itself. So 1, 2, 3 knots. I'm going to do the same here. So this left one. Go to the right and go into the spine between the cover and the pages and come out, and then the right one goes in here to the left and comes out that side. So basically you're just putting them around the other way, crossing them over the other way, so you can tie this knot to secure it. I'm going to leave these threads on here for the time being. So I'm going to tie some dangles on it. Now when I did it wrong the last time, that ended down here. So yeah, I'm just going to check to make sure that my pages are all up the right way before I do anything else. So I'll just do that quickly, and you can see how the pages lay flat open, the book lays open. If you hear a scream, you know there's one that's upside down. I sort of don't like that there. I'm going to put something else on that. I might get a bit of yellow ink or something, like acrylic ink. Yay, success. Alright, so I'm leaving them for the time being. The next thing is the butterflies are going to go on. And I'm not going to do that in this video. I'll show you that in the next one. So I've got all my butterflies here. Look at them all. And I apologise because I told you you needed 20. You don't. You only need about 10. But these butterflies don't go flat on the page. So if you're using Mateo's digital, you get a mirror image butterfly. I'll show you the printout. And you can... Right, so you get this. So we want to use this one. He's put a line down here. Sorry, that's going in and out of focus. So if you fold on the line as close as you possibly can, and then glue them together, when you cut it out, you get a double-sided butterfly. Okay, now I'm not really good at folding things together, so mine turned out slightly off kilter a little bit, but you like that one, you've got a little bit of white showing. You can just trim it off or can ink it up. It really doesn't matter. So these are two pieces of paper that are glued together, because it's that one piece that I folded in half, and I have Mod Podged over the outside of it. I thought about embossing it, but I'm not sure. So what you do with them is you fold so that just the body gets glued onto the book, so that they become three-dimensional. So we're going through the book and putting some in the book. You can put them in flat if you want to. It's entirely up to you. If you've got single-sided butterflies, you might want to do that. But yeah, that's the way that will go. And I'll show you that in the next one. Finish it off with any other bits and pieces. Love that gold edge on my pages. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. And subscribe to Mateo's if you're not subscribed to him either. And I think you'll find value there. So if you subscribe, then it means you're going to come back, and I'd love to have you back. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. So have fun in your crafting room, and as I said, if you've got any questions, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you if I can help you. And the links to all of Mateo's videos and his email address if you want the digital in my video description box. Alright, okay, have fun. Hugs and cheers from Australia. Hooroo.